Welcome everybody to 61 Minute Podcast. I am your host, Puerto Rican Cuz. So basically this is my first day doing the journal, kind of like a video journal. Today is February 11, 2021. And the reason of this video is to finally bring down the truth and really put down what really happened April 4th of 1968. We need to give the King family the truth, unbiased truth, you know what I'm saying? As far as what really happened to Dr. King on that day at 6 o'clock in Memphis, Tennessee, in the Lorraine Hotel. It's to my understanding, a lot of people had done these types of videos, and the one that I resonated the most with is Steve Coakley, and rest in peace to him. I think his information was really in depth. Mine's is coming from a different angle, of course. So I'm bringing you new perspective because, I always say this in every show. You can't cover the sun with your thumb. My mom used to always say that. Meaning that you can't cover the truth for long. And so it's just a matter of time. It's gonna come out. And I felt like it's out, and it's been out. It's just that they done had, and Malcolm warned us about this, they done had people in the community to vouch for these people. It's like they're taking you into a highway of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? They bring you here and then it leads to nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, the reason of this video, right, is to discredit the fact that James Earl Ray was the shooter of Martin Luther King. There are so many different aspects that point to the fact that he did not do it. He did not do it. He was definitely the perfect person to have there at that time. And I felt like he was placed there for the actual shooting to take place so he could take the blame for it. Now, why am I saying that? Well, the reason I'm saying that is for a lot of different information what has come out and has really debunked a lot of the things that was telling us in the past. Like I said, you can't cover the truth on for so long, I didn't know that James Earl, lived a life of crime like that. I just thought he was a random person who hated, Aboriginal people and just wanted to do some harm to, the Aboriginal community. But it's it's deeper than what we think. Let me just type this in real quick. Okay, James Earl Ray. That's the brother's name. Now, James Earl Ray was an American fugitive and a felon convicted and assassinated of Martin Luther King Jr. at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee on April 4th, 1968. On March 10th, this is when he was born. Let me go get in depth. Was an American fugitive felon and convicted of assassinating Martin Luther King Jr. at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee on April 4th, 1968. Ray was convicted in 1969 after entering a guilty plea, thus foregoing a jury trial and possibility of a death sentence, and was sentenced to 99 years imprisonment. At the time of his death, he had served 29 years of his sentence. Wow. Okay, so You know, some of James Earl Ray's convention were murder, prison escape, armed robbery, and burglary. You know, so from what I already read, I could already tell he's like a con man, like a, you know, catch me if you can type of person, you know. As far as his early life, Ray was born in March 10th, 1928 in Alton, Illinois, the son of Lucille Ray. In February 1935, Ray's father, known by the name Speedy, passed a bad check into Alton, Illinois, and then moved to Ewan, Missouri, where the family changed their names to Raines to avoid law enforcement. Now, you know, this brother right here was born in a life of crime, from what I could tell. You know, his father dealt with crime, and the results of that, you know, did a lot of fraudulent activities as far as changing names. You know, this is definitely past social media. This is before social media. So if you people could go, that's how there's so many serial killers, because people could go, especially like a truck driver going to state to state, he could be killing people, you know, and he could be kill people in Texas and then they end up in California and nobody know who did it. There's no cameras, there's nothing. So this is I would say the age of darkness, but with a lot of wisdom, you know what I'm saying? Give me 1 second. Ray left school at the age of 12. He later joined the U.S. Army at the close of World War II and served in Germany. Ray struggled to adapt to military life and was eventually discharged for a lack of adaptability in 1948. So, with that being said, we understand this brother has a lack of, you know, adaptability, you know what I'm saying, in his field. So meaning that, you know, he didn't want to be there, or that's not what he was, you know, that's not what he wanted to do. So I can see this, that he's not, I would say, a killer or nothing like that. You know what I mean? Like a, you know, true life murderer or anything like that. He was more like a catch me if you can type guy. You know what I mean? You can't pin this guy down to one place type thing. Ray's committed a varieties of crimes prior to the murder of Kings. Ray's first conviction for criminal activity was a burglary in California. Came in 1949 and 1952. He served 2 years for armed robbery of a taxi driver in Illinois. You see what I'm saying? Like this is not a killer. You know what I'm saying? In 1955, Ray was convicted in mail fraud. See, you know, if he was cold-blooded like that, you know, it would have reflected something in his childhood that, you know, would have been more acceptable to me. After stealing money orders in Hannibal, Missouri, then forging them to take a trip to Florida, he served 4 years in Leavenworth. In 1959, Ray was caught stealing $120 in an armed robbery of a St. Louis. Not only was he wasn't a killer, Ray was a petty thief. Ray was sentenced to 20 years in prison for repeated offenses. He escaped from Missouri State Penitentiary in 1967 by hiding in a truck transporting bread from the prison's bakery. This don't sound like nobody that, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no history of any type of murders, nothing. You know, the only thing this guy ever used a gun for is to rob a cab driver. In activities in 1967. Following his escape, Ray stayed on the move throughout the United States and Canada, going first to St. Louis and then onwards to Chicago, Toronto, and Montreal, and Birmingham, Alabama, where he stayed long enough to buy a 1966 Ford Mustang. Now, see what I'm saying? This don't be adding up, man. Because if you escape jail, what makes you gonna get if let's say nowadays, right? It's like you on the run, but then you're gonna get a yellow Mustang. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why are you escaping from jail, being around, like you're not living in Montana, you're living in the same facility, around the same area where you escaped jail, and you're doing all these type of crimes? Why are you around there? It doesn't make any sense why he will go back knowing that he could get caught being in a Mustang, which is, at that time, damn near equivalent to, one of these, crazy cars in 1967, right? In 1964 Mustang, and get in an Alabama Alabama driver's license. He then drove to Mexico, stopped in Acapulco before settling down in Puerto Vallarta in October 1967. So he was in Mexico. So he fled. He fled. Like, what people that's on the run, and especially at that time with no social media, nothing, like you could easily live your life remotely. You know what I'm saying? Why would he go back if he's already in Mexico? Nobody's looking for you. You're a little guy. They're stealing $120. You know what I'm saying? The probably the worst crime you ever did was probably escape from jail. While in Mexico, Ray's using his alias Eric Starvo attempted to establish himself as a pornographic film director. Using mail order equipment, he filmed and photographed local prostitutes. Frustrated with his results by the prostitutes with whom he had formed a relationship. But this guy is, man, don't fit. It don't fit, y'all. Ray was more like I said, like, ever seen that movie Catch Me If You Can? Like, doing me reading about him, I can't say the most he stood in one place was in Alabama, where he stood there until he could afford a 1966 Ford Mustang. This guy doesn't stay in one place. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's jumping. Ray returned to the United States after all that. He returns back to the United States, where he's wanted from numerous of different crimes. Who does that? Unless, I'm gonna leave that for a little later. Ray returned to the United States, arriving in Los Angeles in November 1967. While in Los Angeles, Ray attended a local bartending school, took dance lessons. This is the killer, right? This is the killer that then took down the king. Nah, bruh, I ain't buying none of this. His chief interest, however, was the George Wallace presidential campaign. Ray was a racist and was quickly drawn to Wallace's segregationist platform. See, this is where whoever was in charge, or one of the arms that was in charge of taking Martin Luther King, added this bullshit right here. You know what I mean? I feel, or maybe not. You never know. Platform, no, but you will know. He spent much of his time in Los Angeles volunteering at a Wallace campaign headquarters in North Hollywood. He considered migrating to Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe, where he predominantly white minority regime. So, see, this is the thing. This is the thing right here. Look, y'all gotta read, which just don't make no sense. George Wallace presidential campaign. Ray was a racist and was quickly drawn to Wallace segregationist platform. All right. So if he was a racist and he don't want to live around black people, so he gonna go to the blackest place in the world and say he want to live there. He considered immigrating to Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe, where white people are the minority. So if he's a racist, why is he going to move to Africa, where his people are the minorities? Doesn't make any sense, yo, at all. I'm not buying it. That generation that accepted this bullshit, it ain't here no more. That long and gone. So he got caught in the United Kingdom. He got caught in the United Kingdom a year later. So where did he get his? He's robbing people for $120. Then he was able to afford a Mustang. Then he went to Mexico to shoot pornography with Mexican women. And that didn't jump. That ain't going nowhere. Somebody must have been funding this guy. Somebody, you know what? Somebody must have said, you know what? This guy's the perfect scapegoat. He's not attached to nothing. He doesn't have anything. He's a nomad. He's a Rolling Stone. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? Wherever he laid his hat is his home. So if this is a perfect person to put here and say it's not a conspiracy, right? Because in the conspiracy has an agenda behind it. This is a random racist person who decided to take his justice and put it out there. But doesn't make any sense, because clearly the guy is not only is he a bad criminal, but it is the decisions he make to rob in an armored truck and to only have $120 in there is crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, there's a lot of things that don't make sense. Okay, see, for some reason they mentioned George Wallace. I'm gonna get into that later, but listen, you gotta read between the lines. The man said he loved segregationists, George Wallace, but then said his dream was to move to Zimbabwe, where he's the minority. You understand? Like, see, this is crazy. This is crazy. And it needs to be said now, because it's so many years done passed that we have the capability and the understanding and the wisdom now to really have passed judgment on this matter. Because, you know, a king died literally, and we still say alleged. It's a disrespect to the judicial system in this country. It's a disrespect to anybody who has upheld the law, the rule of law, like Martin Luther King did. It's a disrespect, and it shows that if we not gonna stand up, well, there's gonna be other kings, you know, like Nip. You know what I mean? Like, there's gonna be other people, and I'll be damned if I leave my kids in this world with these type of people. So I'm playing my part. You know, this is the first day of my journal on Kingdom Come. But now we're gonna get into what we're gonna get into in this same video is the ballistics, James Earl Ray's apartment where he shot from, and the autopsy on where King was shot. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. This is deep. All right? No more rabbit holes. It's just straight coming down the pipeline. So y'all stay tuned, support, hit the like button, subscribe. There's more to come. Just give me 3 seconds. Okay, so we got James Earl Ray So James Ellsworth, we already talked about as far as his background, his criminal activities, and his misfortunes as far as, not having luck as being a good criminal. Because everything that he's done, it just, he just keeps on doing the same old thing. Scamming, the porn business, there's a lot of things. So one thing I want to touch on is the fact that this guy could not adapt in the military, right? And by the time he went into the military, the war was damn near over already. So, his background doesn't talk anything about his, action, no Medal of Honor. So him being this universal soldier, or him having all these, him being a sniper in the military, none of that. It's just that he was in the military. That's it. And he got kicked out for not, adapting or not following orders or things like that. So he resulted to come back and live this lifestyle of crime. Because he wasn't a stranger of it, because his family, allegedly comes from that type of background, So now we have James. James is in the hotel across the street from Martin Luther King was going to be staying at. So James, it doesn't even say how he knew he was going to be there. It doesn't, you go from Mexico to Memphis, it just is, and then you go from there to California. You messing with some Republicans over there. See, because and you know what? I'm not even gonna give it up this early. So you have this situation because this whole thing is to debunk James L. Ray out of the situation, because he's not the shooter. You know what I'm saying? Because clearly it just shows this guy is too incompetent to pull out one of the most high-profile assassinations in human history. You know what I'm saying? This guy cut one bullet, just one bullet. It's more than this. So we get that James is across the street in a hotel. Really has no big history with guns, but he has a Grandmaster high-power rifle. And now, if you could even Google this. If you Google the picture as far as where it was placed and where the shot came from, excuse me. The shot came from a view from looking downwards, right? Looking downwards. So he was looking down at a hotel, right? He was looking down at a hotel. So the shot was coming from down, not up, down. Let's keep that in mind. Now, as we can take a look from his view, he has that view of, I guess, Dr. King, so I say. But there's only one problem, is that with time tells all. And we look at the autopsy of Dr. King, we notice that he had a punching wound in the back from a bullet. So the bullet came from his right shoulder. Let me get that right. The bullet came from his right shoulder, right? And hit him in his neck area, and I guess burst in his jaw. That is right there debunking the fact that James L. Ray shot Martin Luther King. Just in the simple fact that the shot where it was taken, where the entry wound came in, somebody must have shot Dr. King from the back. Kind of like when let's say somebody getting a robbery, they come from behind, they put the gun in your back. That's exactly how I think, my personal opinion, because there's no way, if you're facing if I'm facing the James L. Ray's view, right? If he shoots, it's gonna be coming this way towards me, because Martin was facing that direction. So it's gonna come in and project through here to come down through here to exit through my shoulder. But that's not what happened. The autopsy report states that the shot came from going up. So somebody must have had the gun to his back. When they let it go, just by, natural physics, the gun goes up. So if it goes up, that's why they always tell you to point at least, down a little bit. Don't point up, because automatically from the recoil, it goes up. So the shot, when he got shot, the release, boom, shot. So he must have been, Dr. King, listen to this. Dr. King must have been trying to like that, because that's how he got shot in the jaw, because it came from his back, out from his shoulder blade, in through his neck, hitting his jawline. So Dr. King must have been looking back like this. Now, that right there, see, this is why I'm anti-rabbit hole. If James L. Ray is just right now, just got debunked that whole theory that he killed them. Now, I'm not going to say that he wasn't part of the whole movie, because I believe he was put there because he had a lot. He escaped from jail. He had a list that goes on, and the list goes on and on as far as the criminal activities that he had. So they probably snatched him up. You know what I mean? They placed him there. Just like they play Oswald there. They place these people there, sprinkle a little bit of army on them. But just know that, for you to take a shot like that one time on a moving target, it's really hard. Not a lot of people, for a professional, it's gonna be hard. But for somebody that done got kicked out the army for not adapting to whatever that brings, as far as him being a sniper or mechanic or whatever the case may be, he didn't adapt it. He, as much patriot he is, he wasn't patriot enough to do the job for his country. You know what I mean? So let's debunk this whole thing as far as having James L. Ray as the shooter, because clearly, from the laws of physics, if he's shooting from across, from having the bullet projecting downwards, from his target being downwards, then that means if Dr. King was facing him, then that means the bullet will hit him here, and then exit into the shoulder. Right? And it is almost damn near, impossible, right? Because like I said, if he was facing him and he gets shot in the shoulder area, how is it going downwards? How is that going downwards? It's like, how is it going downwards instead of see what it was is that the bullet came from the back. And when they shot him, the bullet went up. And like I said, he turned around. Just like to see who it is, naturally. Turned around. And when he turned around, because he must have trying to see his killer. So when he turned around, boom, that's when it went off. And that's how he got shot in his neck and in his jawline, because the bullet traveled since he had the gun right on his back. So when he shot it, jerked up. The bullet went up. So when he shot him, the bullet projectile went all the way in, hit him in the neck, and came out the jaw. So clearly, a sniper. This is twice that we get a magic bullet. See, they couldn't throw the magic bullet word on you. They got away with it once, but twice, nah. Especially a bullet. It's like a bullet that had his own brain. So the shot coming from upwards, he's facing it, coming down here, hitting him here, hitting his jaw, and traveling down the shoulder. No, what makes sense is, see, another thing is this. Martin Luther King had death threats all the time. He had about 20 cops surrounding wherever this guy go. You know, he had a bomb threat on his plane, I believe, going to Memphis. So they didn't even know who if he was coming. But the people that did him in got him in that predicament. I believe, allegedly. So this video right now is basically just debunking the fact that James L. Ray shot Dr. Martin Luther King. And now we are going to be placing our sights on the meat and potatoes now. This is where it starts getting good. Because now we know that this guy, see what they did was, you know, it's like you throw a rock to get somebody's attention and look the other way. Another thing is this. When a sniper takes a shot, usually whoever it hits, you see them fall down first, then you hear the shot. No, these people, you know, there's people in the army that you know, like people in the army don't really run into snipers like that. Like, you know what I mean? Because there's not a lot of them. There's maybe a guy with a sniper gun, but it's not really a lot of snipers. That's like an elite class of whatever branch of the army you in. You know what I'm saying? An elite. So not everybody could put that title, yeah, I'm a sniper. No, you just a dude with a sniper rifle. You're not a sniper. So him, but not having that background of being a sniper, you know what I'm saying? And then having people that were out there. See, because there was people out there while Martin Luther King was on the floor. If you look closely and look down, like downstairs, you'll see cops down there. You'll see, because there was cops already there. See, what you don't know is that the killers was in the balcony. The killers was with him. See, this too, in this scenario, and this to me, I'm gonna be honest, this to me is starting to look like, The Departed. If you ever watched the movie Departed, it's kind of like two officers with two different backgrounds, and they go two different ways. They live two different lives, and I'm getting something from that in this right here, because look, not you didn't know, but Martin was with somebody that was a killer. That was a killer, decorated killer too. You know what I'm saying? Allegedly, for his country, of course. And there was two people that was in the army that was around Martin. I mean, as far as names being thrown. But the only two individuals, right, were James L. Ray and Ralph Abernathy. That's crazy. This is crazy. Because these are the people that got Martin in Memphis. After him being, been having so much death threats, remember, I believe a couple of years from that happening, or 2 years or a year from that him being assassinated, he got stabbed in New York. So it was on high alert. So again, whenever an assassination takes place, remember, they take away your telecommunications, your security. Remember, the list goes on and on. Tupac, Nip, you know what I mean? No security, like Malcolm. It's the same MO. It's the same MO. The same people doing this that did that. It's the same legacy coming down the pipeline. The same thing. So, you know, the only person that I could see that, you know, because there's a lot of things was being said to mislead people. You know what I'm saying? Even this Reverend Cowles, when he mentioned that he stepped away, and the friendlies that had snipers and all that, that was all BS. That's just lies on top of lies on top of lies to cover the truth. Because, you know, these are the pastors, right, that I strongly believe this is the core of Cointelpro. The core of Cointelpro. The church in that time was one of the most powerful things. I mean, it brought down this country to its knees with Martin and Malcolm and so much other civil rights people that right now at the time I won't be able to mention, but the church is Cointelpro. The church is Cointelpro. And with a sprinkle of other little things. But that section there, and Malcolm mentioned about meetings with pastors and, you know, Nation of Islam with the Rockwell. So you already see the gumbo getting put together. So you got Ralph, which is a decorated, you know, he was in World War II. He's an army man. See, if anybody will be able to take that shot or be able to do this, because they making you think that the killer is far away when it's really right there next to you. Remember, Martin stood. Who did Martin stay with? Martin stayed with Ralph in a room. They stood together. And the autopsy also reports of what I believe will be lacerations on Martin Luther King's ankles, wrists, forearm. Something tells me there was a struggle. Something tells me that speech that Martin gave was more of a stance against what he believed were the agents behind him, Jesse Jackson, Ralph Abernathy, saying, "I'm not fearing any man. My eyes witnessed the becoming of the Lord." He was talking to them. He was talking to them because he knew already. See, he got on his Moses thing. Mountaintop, let my people go. He knew what he was doing, you know. And just like, you know, the Lord told Moses that he won't be able to go to the land. So, you know, Moses went up to them, you know, just like how Martin went up them steps, never came down. And Moses, the same thing. Similar stories. And not, you know, I said that to say this, you know, his killers, well, let me say this. Jesse Jackson said, with every sacrifice, that's the resurrection. So ask yourself, who resurrected Malcolm's death? Martin's death, I'm sorry. Martin's death. We're going to get to Malcolm. Something, you know, Martin's death. Ralph Abernathy, Jesse Jackson, and the other brother that became head of the U.S. So see, this is how you stop a movement from even taking off. You take the head people away, and then you put your own people, just the same way these people do in countries. They put Ralph Abernathy. You know, Ralph Abernathy is decorated. He was a GI. You know, he was in World War II. He has that connection, that background to his country, and you know, as far as you know, him being snatched up or being a Cointelpro or agent, that transition would have been easy. You know what I'm saying? Him infiltrating the black community like that. Just like they did to the Panthers, just like how they did to other numerous organizations that were vouching for peace. So this is where I take my stance, and I say that the people that got him there were the people who killed him. And that wasn't James L. Ray. James L. Ray couldn't do nothing right. He's robbing armed robbers for $120. You think somebody like that's going to take a high profile, have one of the highest profile killings in history? Nah, I don't think so. That shot came from close. This is why, if you look in the balcony, there's a picture. If you really look at it, right, you're gonna see Martin like in a state of shock, right? In a state of shock. And who's standing behind him? Ralph Abernathy. And I personally believe that's when the shot came. And they have moved his body to 306, right in front of 306. Because if they would have left his body in 304, it would have been a bad view for the sniper to take that shot. So they had to move Martin to 306. That's if there's a picture, I believe I got it. There's a picture, and you'll see there's a white, I guess where the maids put towels and stuff like that right there. And there's a sheet with blood on it. And I believe that's where, you know, I believe that's what they used to drag Martin. They dragged Martin to that position and have him there. Remember, if you look at the autopsy, Martin had lacerations in his wrists, forearm, and his knees. Or that means that he was tied down, you know, because Martin knew it was coming. That's why he said he don't fear no man, you know, because he already saw the promised land, you know. He already saw the promised land, and we see the people who hijacked the movement, the Dick Gregory's. Now, let me get some, oh man, I'm gonna get into it right now. Dick Gregory was a comedian, right? I mean, Malcolm said it best. He said, you'll never see in the white community a comedian being an activist, or, you know what I mean, a leader in the community. You know what I'm saying? And Dick Gregory has been around. Well, let me tell you that and rest in peace, you know what I'm saying? But fuck that, and excuse my language. But Dick Gregory, his entry into this entertainment business, it begins with Hugh Hefner. And we already know if Hugh Hefner would have been around now, he would have been right next to R. Kelly. You know what I'm saying? Just straight up facts. So he comes from that background. So we already know it's not somebody that I would say has the best interest in the community. I'm assuming. So Dick Gregory was around Martin and Malcolm. In both of them, I remember Dick Gregory saying, and he was the first that I saw with that video with Reverend Kyles saying that as I move to the left so to take a shot, so the sniper could take a shot. See, that's all trickery and wordplay, because that's just you might think he slipped up and said that, but nah, he ain't slipped up and said it. He meant to say that, because that's confirming the fact that it was a sniper. Now, what he said though, when he's move out the way, you have to take that scenario and think that when they was in that room, because my opinion, I got two scenarios and that's it. Is that Martin got shot in the hotel room and got dragged outside. Nobody heard the pop. I mean, nobody seen it, but when they came out, they all pointed out that direction. Notice that Jesse Jackson also said that when everybody started pointing, the cops started running towards them. And he said, no. It's this. How you had no military background. You have no experience in warfare, in battle. And this soldiers it'll take them a while before they know where that shot came from. Soldiers, active. So you mean to tell me a civilian, everybody's pointing that direction when he got shot? Nah. See, when Martin got shot, Jesse said he ran down the stairs. Why are you running down so you're telling them to not come to you, but you running down the stairs? I think personally that was him probably removing the whatever instrument to shoot Martin with. Any evidence, so they say. So all this is to say, as far as the people that was put in position to lie, like somebody like Dick Gregory. When Martin called Dick Gregory, and he was like, "Hey, brother, you gonna go to the Audubon that we're gonna have, gathering?" He's like, "Man, listen, I ain't gonna go over there, because I ain't gonna let them get 2 for 1. I'm gonna go to Chicago. When I land, they're gonna tell me that you're already dead." See, that's what an agent. See, that he was bitter. He was bitter, you know why? Because Martin had called them out. Martin said, "You ain't no black. You Cointelpro. You Cointelpro." He told him. He said it in an interview with Berkeley. In Berkeley interview. He said, people like Selena Pound, Dick Gregory, you don't see that only in our communities that you'll get that LeBron has no political experience, would commentate, or what they'll do is they'll put the cameras in you for you to come out and say, you know what I mean? They trick people like that. So what Malcolm is saying, that these people aren't no leaders. These people are no activists. They're just
that they call leaders. This included Lena Horne. This included Dick Gregory. And this included comedians comics, trumpet players, baseball players. Show me in the white community where a comedian is a white leader. Show me in the white community where a singer is a white leader, or a dancer or a trumpet player is a white leader. These aren't leaders. These are puppets and clowns that have been set up over the white community or over the black community by the white community, and have been made celebrities and usually say exactly what they know that the white man wants to hear. You'll find that oftentimes Negroes are as much on guard around Negro interviewers, who usually represent the bourgeois element of Negroes, as they are on guard around whites. Usually Negroes know that when this bourgeois Negro walks through the door, he is not doing something that he's initiated himself, but he's involved in something in which the white man is the absolute author of, and has sent him to the Negro community for some information. And when they give that Negro some information, usually they give him the information that they want him to take back to the white man, because that's who he's going to.
So yeah, man, you heard it from the horse's mouth, man. You heard Malcolm say, these activists that have been put by the liberal, agenda consist of artists, athletes, musicians, comics. The same thing we got now. But even worse. Dick Gregory at least he was smart. The people that we got now, people like, Portia Williams, my son, and all these clowns, right? What they're doing is the same work that has been done. It's just the same agenda, different players, but the same old game. But you heard it from the horse's mouth. Saying Dick Gregory wasn't no activist. He was put there. Remember where these people get their start from. They got their start from what? Hugh Hefner? Well, Hugh Hefner was one of the biggest he would have been number one in the hit list for me too. That's all I gotta say. But as far as look how these people start, you know what I mean? And where they at when everything happened, where they at? When he was around Martin, when they got heavy for Martin and nobody was there that was with him, you know what I'm saying? So is with Malcolm X also. When Malcolm X called them and was like, hey, you brother, you coming down to Audubon? We having something there. He was like, nah, I ain't going over there. I'm booking my ticket to go to Chicago, and by the time I land, they're gonna tell me you dead because the government's gonna come after you. What type of, how we winning a fight like this with these people? See, that's what I'm saying. These are the same, it's the same old game. And these are the people that with generations that follow wouldn't know that they was the ones that was covering everything and taking out our real true leaders. Because when they took out, look at it like this. When they took out Martin, right? Because clearly, if Jesse Jackson ran in '84, clearly Martin would have won in whatever year way earlier than that. He ran for 2 terms. That means they already had a Manchurian candidate damn there. They had their people in place. You know what I'm saying? That's how they, take over countries and put puppet governments. But we already see, that's why Pac used to say, we don't study Italians, we study the governments. Because it's the same old trick. And we see it every time. But you see what Ralph Abernathy became the head of the civil rights movement. But this is what everybody's missing out of this whole thing, because it's different layers. See, we at the layer that we already done past the dumbness with the James Earl Ray situation. That's out the way, right? Even Martin's family to this day say that he was innocent. He ain't had nothing to do with it. He was part of the movie, but he wasn't the main actor in it. You know what I'm saying? So you got Jesse Jackson. See, one thing that y'all gotta understand is Martin never picked a side. He understood the power that he had behind him when it came to the votes. So that's why he never really picked a side until it was beneficial for the people. And that's how you know he's a true leader, B. Now, you have Jesse Jackson. You have Ralph Abernathy. And they all run under the Democratic flag. So that the civil rights movement got hijacked by the left. It got hijacked by the left because of the simple fact it was so easy to put blame on, on them. It's like a gang member. Like if somebody's trying to set let's say somebody is active or is in gangs or whatever, they're gonna try to place him probably in a rival neighborhood. That way it don't fall on them. So it's easy to make this happen in Memphis, the birth of the damn near KKK down there. You know what I'm saying? So it could have been an easy scapegoat. You know what I'm saying? It could have been. That's what they wanted. They wanted that nomad, no family, no ties, no friends type of dude that nobody's gonna say, man, I vouch for that dude. That dude ain't do that. Nobody knows this dude. He left a trail of mess. So you gotta understand, that's how they want us to think that James Earl Ray did it, but in reality, it was the people who benefited. Just like Jesse Jackson said. Excuse me. Jesse Jackson said, with every sacrifice, there's a resurrection, right? So who resurrected in Martin's departure? Of course it was him. He ran for president twice. Who's putting money behind this guy? See, that's how you make sure the people, the leaders and the people never be connected. You know what I'm saying? Because clearly Jesse Jackson wasn't a part of nothing. You know what I'm saying? He was just the same way I look at Ralph Abernathy, a damn near Cointelpro agent. You know what I mean? Because look at this scenario. One of the persons who was advocating for Jesse Jackson, not that he can, but the irony behind it, was Farrakhan. Farrakhan was one of those people that really was vouching for him at the time. You know what I'm saying? So see how leaders and movements could be taken out easily. Just take the leader, you know what I'm saying? Take the leader and the rest will follow. And this is exactly what happened. We definitely going to go more in depth into this, because now that we finally find the truth behind all of this, we understand that it's bigger than what we think. It's bigger. Look, we're going to go so in depth, it's not even funny. Look, I'm going to just drop little bars for y'all right now. But a lot of people don't understand that during the time that this is one of the reasons why I started with Martin, but that whole decade of the 60s with the killing of Kennedy first, Malcolm second, and Martin last, that was thought out. You know what I'm saying? And why? Because of the simple fact that all three of these kings, they had in their mind, they wanted that war to be over. But there was some people that were going through something, and during those times, remember, at that time there was a 6-day war in the Middle East. You know what I mean? And a lot of these supplies that they needed to make sure that they fend the city or state the size of New Jersey could fend off surrounding countries, they needed some army backing. And a lot of these things, that's what they wanted to cut out. Martin Luther King was on, while we wasted money on military complexes, when we could be putting it in housing to better living. Because once we at war, the compassion goes down dramatically, because everybody's on defensive mode. You know what I mean? Either we don't feel it here, but remember, we got families and loved ones that go to war. So, you know, the country tends to be more conservative. You know what I'm saying? But that's why Martin was against the war, that we try to fix what's going on here. The what's more, this is more unjust what's happening in the United States by having free people still be treated the way they're treated. Is one of the worst types of things that could ever happen in human history, you know. And then we start talking about distribution of wealth, which is something that all three of them were touching on too. And then when you have Martin and Malcolm clicking together, that's a problem. Somebody's gonna have a real big problem. And that's when I think, and this is my personal opinion, but I feel that both of these brothers, Martin and Malcolm, they were at one point part of that Cointelpro. I really believe that. They were both part of Cointelpro, but guess what? Those times were different than any other times. Those times people had more dignity. People were still attached. You know what I mean? Being black meant something. It wasn't Black Lives Matter back then. It was like, I'm black and I'm proud. It was different, yo. It was so different. So I wouldn't expect people in this day and age to uphold dignity and honor the same way these brothers did, because it's a different time. You know what I mean? We do see some brothers carry that torch like that. You know what I mean? But if you don't have the backing of the community, it ain't gonna last long. Sun ain't gonna last long. You know what I'm saying? So we gonna get more in depth. A lot of these things we're gonna debunk, because now we starting to understand that the DNC then hijacked the movement. That civil rights movement had no ties to no political party, but after King's death, it became that the civil rights were automatically. See, that's where we lost our way. That's when the Democratic Party gained power and gained the black vote. The Aboriginal vote. I'm sorry, I hate saying black, because ain't nobody black with this shirt that I got on. You know what I'm saying? The Aboriginal people. That's when we lost our way, because they hijacked that movement with people that look like us. You know what I'm saying? With people that look like us. They sold out. Sold out Martin Luther King. Sold out John F. Kennedy. Remember, and we gonna look, I'm gonna drop little bars, but the same person who did the autopsy for the same person who did the autopsy for Martin Luther King did the autopsy for John F. Kennedy. Remember, all these stories sound similar. James Earl Ray had a defense lawyer. His defense lawyer was the same defense lawyer who had Oswald. It's time to wake up, man. It's really time to wake up, man. But like I said, man, we gonna get to it. Like, I was thinking about making different parts, because it's gonna go deep, y'all. It's gonna go deep. So I'm gonna just do it like this. I'm gonna take it show by show, and I'm gonna break it down the way I know how to break it down. And we gonna start exposing them. The Jesse Jackson, the Reverend Kyles, the Dick Gregory's, and all these con artists, cons, right? They know everything but don't know nothing when the shot gets fired. They know everything. They in every picture, but once it's time to go, it's time to go. And don't y'all see the similarities in these stories? What is it? Martin Luther King, the white car, the Mustang, Pac, white Cadillac, man, it's a lot, bro. It's a lot, man. So stay tuned with your boy, man. We locked and loaded, man. We locked in. Let's go, man. Let's do this. Subscribe, share, like, and let's get the show up on the ground running, man. For real, man. Salute, health and wealth, wisdom. You already know. One love, baby.